everyone. It's been a minute since we spoke. It's been a minute since I picked up this camera and documented some stuff. And I just turned 26 yesterday, so I'm feeling pretty old, I guess, in terms of like this online space. 26 can be considered quite old, I suppose. There's guys out there making significantly more than me that are younger than me, but I've still got a lot of life in me, still got a lot to give. But yeah, I was kind of reflecting and I was like, hey, I want to start documenting more. I have built multiple businesses up to 7 figures. I've, coached over 600 sales reps at this point. I still actively manage my own sales team and actively coach many of those sales reps. So I definitely have a lot of value I want to share, and I want to start documenting it more. Not from a standpoint of, hey, look at me, look at my life and look how great it is, but from a standpoint of like, wherever you are at, whether you are, trying to enter into online space, whether you've just finished university and you're looking at what you want to do, or whether you're a sales rep looking into getting into high ticket closing, or if you're a business owner that might not be pushing as bigger numbers as me just yet, or even maybe you are. Like there's lessons in what I'm doing every single day, and I want to start sharing them because I think there's a lot of value in that. And I guess this comes at a very kind of pinnacle time because I guess last week hit a pretty low point in business, in that something we've been working on really hard hasn't worked out. Teams underperforming, things weren't looking so bright and breezy last Monday. And if I'm honest, I had a little breakdown over it. I was pretty upset. I put in all this effort these last 6 months. I pushed really hard, and all the effort I put in hadn't really got, I guess, in terms of like business growth and monetary gain, kind of what I wanted. But I picked myself up very quickly and realized that we have learned a lot in those in the last 6 months, and I really dialed back in terms of just being more in tune with the team, giving more one-to-one coaching, giving more support, and in turn the team has done way better. One of our reps, or one of our closers, went from having a pretty atrocious close rate to doing 12k cash collected in a day right after having a one-on-one with him, and it kind of lit the fuel in me and was like, all right, I need to start and document some of this stuff. That I think you'll see on a YouTube video shortly, because we did film that call and I want to share that. But there's a lot I want to share here, and I want to just walk you through kind of my weeks, what I get up to, and then kind of any lessons I have along the way, so you get kind of, I guess, your dopamine fix of like some lifestyle stuff, but more so just like the lessons I'm going to share and what I want to show you, and obviously what I'm learning along the way I think can be incredibly valuable. So come with me this week and let's see what we got up to. So I guess I should probably start by just telling you what's been going on. Good place to start this video would be telling you obviously some of the issues I'm facing right now inside the business, and obviously much of it relates to sales, and I guess there's some irony in this, in that our biggest constraint right now inside Club Closer is sales. And it's not necessarily because our sales reps are bad, because they're not. They're great guys, they can perform really well, they've got great track records, many of them have come up through the community itself. However, we've focused so heavily on marketing and creating new marketing mechanisms for the business, one of which being a VSL. We've created a whole new cold calling arm of the business, and heavily focused on them as well. However, we're not getting the results out of that we necessarily want, and as a result, what's happened is our sales guys have suffered. And we never, like in sales, you never want to blame the leads, and credit to the guys, they haven't necessarily been blaming any external factors. Is one thing we really drill in, is making sure that they take 100% accountability, and you take 100% accountability of your actions and your circumstances, with obviously dealing with the cards you've been dealt and adapting to the best of your ability. However, the issue we found is obviously we've got guys that have no idea we exist. They're seeing one ad and we're trying to get them on a call and we're trying to close them. And ultimately, like, yes, some businesses do very well with that, and I'll put my hands up and say that we've really struggled. Our close rates haven't been great on it. I mean, it's our show rates that have really struggled. Typically as a business, we operate around 80% show rate, 75, 80%. But in recent months, we've been down at 50, sometimes even 40, which is dreadful. And as a business owner, I feel incredibly responsible for making sure that, the team we have, the sales guys we have inside the business, whether that be setters, closers, cold callers, there's an opportunity for them to make good money with us. Otherwise, what's the point? Because if you don't have a driven, a hungry, and a dedicated team that can see the vehicle they're in, your business, they're working for you, is the best vehicle for them, and they can earn great money there and they have good career trajectory with you, they're going to lose faith. They're not going to have conviction in themselves that they're doing the right thing, they're making the right moves by working for us. And ultimately that's going to translate into their ability to sell, because conviction is obviously the number one in sales. You need to make sure you're working for a business that you truly align with and you truly agree with the ways, not necessarily agree, we're not doing anything negative in marketing, but they can see that the marketing is working and it makes sense for them to close those deals, or even like show up every single day and try to close those deals. Whereas if you've got like some of our reps this month have had a 35% show rate, and obviously their close rates have been pretty bad too, it doesn't reflect well, and obviously it's left kind of a few of our reps very demoralized, potentially even leaving the business. Which, as a business owner, for me, like, I set up this business because I knew there was a gap in the market that we could fill in terms of high quality, authentic sales training and helping guys and girls get to their ideal scenario of making that 6 figures a year online. But ultimately, I want a team of killers that I relate to, I resonate with, and I can help get to their goals that ultimately work within the business. So right now we don't have that. We don't have an opportunity, or we didn't. The way we were going, we didn't have an opportunity for our guys to scale up within the business because the metrics weren't there on our end, and what I was delivering in terms of, hey, here's our show rates right now, here's the potential close rates, here's what people are doing in the business. It wasn't aligned, and we really had to take a step back and go back to the drawing board and look at how we do things, to make sure that, you know, our marketing is hitting and it is working, and we are getting guys and girls that are ultimately driven to that end result and want to make that change with us. So what that looks like is really putting the team first at this point. We're not focused on necessarily growing revenue numbers or anything like that. It's purely like, okay, let's make sure the team that we have, we really dial them in. We really give them as much training and as much support as we can, whilst making sure the marketing is aligned with kind of creating that environment where they can thrive. And we really saw that in the last week. Obviously, as I said, last Monday, absolute awful day, probably one of my worst in the last year in business, with how I felt and kind of, I guess, my own conviction in the business and what we were doing. Obviously, we've changed things now and I feel much happier and stronger about it. And yeah, the team are now back dialed in. We've done a hell of a lot of training with them. I've taken on more responsibility in terms of making sure that they're getting the right support from me, from someone that's closed countless clients in this business already, knows our ICP inside and out. And yeah, it's making a huge difference. But I want to kind of, I guess, throughout this video, run you through kind of the steps and things we're implementing in order to actually make that happen. And I'll try and give you a bit of a behind the scenes of what's making that work. But I guess, yeah, in the next hour here, I've got our daily sales team stand up, which would be good. One of our guys has been off for a few weeks, so he's come back to a bit of a surprise and a few changes, but all for the better. And I'm incredibly positive with how things are going. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see how the next week plays out. You can hang around if you want to hear about it. But
I just fuck off.
All right, lads. I was hoping Brent was going to be here too, but you may have just, if you haven't, I know Ben's seen it. Nicholas, I don't know if you've just seen the new Slack channel, Red Zone Leads.
I just saw that actually, yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is just for guys that are super hot, anyone that you've got really on the fence that just needs that little push. I'm happy to send over videos or like voice notes to them. Ideally videos, but obviously depends where I am and if I can. Might be doing some of these whilst taking toilet breaks, so who knows. Just give me a breakdown on the name, link to their Instagram profile. Just if you can make it like really easy for me just to action. So I've said no voice notes. I don't want to listen to a minute and a half, 2 minute, 5 minute voice notes around why I didn't close the guy. Just give me the pure facts. Here's what's up, here's the current, here's the desired, if there's a bottleneck, or if it's like his objection was looking at other sales training programs, or you know, he needs to get money out of the bank, whatever, I can just boost the confidence up and the conviction there. Or if it's a case of like just a follow up, then yeah, just gives me some context or something to go in and record these videos with. Yeah, just want to try and help you guys as best I can with this, give you a bit more of a push.
I don't know anybody else that can generate 80 to 100 qualified sales calls a month, where 90% of them show up.
That's the key thing. We took so many sales calls from prospective, clients, new clients, that their main issue was the fact that nobody would show up to their sales calls. They would spend ages doing 180 slides for their webinar, do it, put all the money into the webinar, do a webinar, get, like a 5% or 10% booked call rate from it.
Do you measure ROAS in terms of everything? Like if you work with a client, are you looking at like what's our ROAS? What do we actually bring in terms of the low ticket plus the high ticket they're selling on the back end?
Yeah.
So what kind of ROAS, what ROAS are you working with? With a client that is doing both, like not the 80k a month, no high ticket, like.
Well, I mean, she spends $9,000 a month, makes 80k, so that's a good ROAS.
But in terms of that, but surely then if she had high ticket, and you must have other examples of clients that are doing high ticket too.
Yeah. I mean, the most, well, put it this way, I'll give you so 1,500 bucks a day is the absolute most that anybody's spending. So that's 45k a month, and they're doing like 300 and something k a month. So, yeah, and everything in between.
Do you not track it?
Yeah. I just haven't got them on my screen. So she did 370 grand last month. If you're managing to get, over 10 ROAS or over eight ROAS, that's fucking awesome. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Because we've done that with VSL. We did that with VSL. We put our heart and soul into getting that thing up to where it is, and like we did everything. Built cold call teams, everything. Above and beyond what all the ads guys said we needed to do, and it's like, all right, we'll do the same here, providing we can see it works. And I guess like for context, the reason we went with those guys is because they work with. It's like for me especially, it was like I know whatever they do works because they've done it to such a scale. Therefore they know something, and their system must work.
What failed there though? Then what failed?
That's the thing.
Well, hold on, I'll tell you what failed. I don't even need to see. My opinion is that the ads guys didn't do anything wrong. It was the funnel that was the problem.
No, obviously we're not looking for you to rip back the curtain and give everything, scripts, whatever. But it's just like I want to see it works, and ultimately, like I'm not going to run these ads.
I know you do. I know that. I'm only one of the
It's
I know one guy in the Netherlands. He runs a webinar the classic way. So the using Webinar Jam, 2-hour webinars, selling a product for 347. If I'm correct, he runs around 300k on ad spend each month, and then he breaks even on that ad spend, and then they do $1 million.
all right. If you were looking for lifestyle content, you haven't got it here because today has just been me sat in this room. I've literally just been sat at this desk since we last spoke, mostly just taking calls with the team and exploring a few other things. Progressive day for sure, but apologies we haven't done anything too exciting. Just focusing in on just dialing this team back in as much as we can whilst exploring these other marketing options at the same time. But I guess the most important thing, as I said at the start of this video, is just make sure that team is locked in as much as possible. It's kind of how the afternoon's gone. Tomorrow we've got a workout early morning, seeing a friend for breakfast that's literally moving into the building just there, which would be cool. And then more desk time. But I'll see you then.
I want a Sunday kind of love, a love to last past Saturday night.
So Tuesday mornings, I normally do my bike ride outside. However, I'm so pushed for time that I can't drive up to the track. This morning, as I'm meeting a friend in about an hour or so for some breakfast, who's just moved in across the way. So I'm sat here doing it inside, which kind of sucks, but got to find the time and squeeze it in wherever I can.
Can't seem to find somebody, someone to care. And I'm on a lonely road that leads to nowhere. I need a
Alright, so once again forgot to pick this camera up. But it's currently 2:40 p.m. Had a really productive morning. Went and saw a friend after my workout just downstairs who just moved in across the way, Ibrahim. He is doing really incredible things in the kind of mindset space. he works with 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs to help them, improve their mindsets and obviously scale their businesses. And it's really cool because he's actually a coach inside Club Closer. So all the guys that work with us and decide to join my coaching program, Club Closer, get access to him once a week on a group call, which the guys find incredibly valuable. And even still to this day, like, I still take his advice, I still listen to him, and I'm still trying to work on my mindset every single day. So it's really good to catch up with him, and Noah is literally across the way. I think I showed you. He's in like that building there. We just waved at each other a few minutes ago, which is funny. And then I went and had another call with a guy called Jordan, who's in the sales training, sales recruitment space, who's doing really incredible things, closed billions in corporate sales. And it's so interesting to see someone like him, who's pretty much, top of the charts, topped out in the industry, entering into the kind of online space, because he sees the amount of potential in it. And he sees that, like, post-COVID, post-everything, a lot of people are, and a lot of B2B companies, corporate companies, are moving to hiring remote sales reps. And ultimately, they don't want to hire, and I use his words here, 45-year-old John that's joining the Zoom call from his living room in Basingstoke. They want to hire kind of the people that, might be 20, 25, 30 years old, that are way more hungry and ultimately really want to push the sales targets and really push their careers. And obviously, the online space has an abundance of those people. And it's interesting to hear that the corporate world is kind of starting to tune into this space and want to hire directly out of our talent pools, as opposed to going to recruiters in a traditional sense that, like, they're just trying to get their paychecks, man. They're just trying to, okay, we'll get you out of this role and we'll get you into a better role. They get paid, and ultimately, as a sales rep, you don't make any more money. But yeah, really interesting morning. I then jumped on a team call, team training, which is great. And then I'm just crafting up a new YouTube video here on just comparing kind of starting your own online business to doing high ticket closing. As obviously, that's where I learned a lot of my lessons, and I really think sales is the better route for everybody, given how competitive the online space is right now. So gonna craft this up. Then I got a coaching call in about an hour or so, and then I think might go to the mall later, which I might bring you along with, just because shopping. Girlfriend wants to go shopping. We're going away end of this week with a couple friends. I'll be working full time there. But yeah, just change of environment, which is always good, especially given the change in the business. I need to get myself amongst nature. I need to touch some grass and realign. But yeah, that's kind of how the rest of the day looks. Another one, kind of saddling the desk. But loving it. Alright, so it is Wednesday, around 3 p.m. Haven't left the house yet today. Woke up, got straight to the desk, had a lot of stuff I needed to get on with. Launched a bunch of new ads, had another couple good one-on-one with team members, and we're making really good progress. I think we did around 16k cash collected yesterday, which is good. So we're all definitely moving in the right direction, and we're in a strong position to start pushing things back up. Sometimes you the way I explained it to the team was, like, sometimes you do need to take a step back and, like, retreat a little bit in battle, instead of just fighting a battle that you're ultimately going to lose. And if you keep pushing, keep doing the same tactics, keep doing the same strategies, and things aren't working, you're ultimately just going to deplete all your resources and die a very painful death. So by retreating, regathering the troops, rearming yourselves, and just reflecting and coming up with a better strategy is the best way to move forward. And that's kind of what we've done these last 2 weeks, and things are definitely improving from it, which I'm really happy to see. But it's funny because once you think in business that a storm is over, a new one sort of arises and there's new issues that come with it. And I guess over the years you just get more resilient to it. Like, previously things like this would have bothered me, but now I'm like, it is what it is, it's part of the game, and you kind of can laugh at it. But yeah, ultimately you're in a good spot, and things are going well again, which is good. And I'm just now off to do my big workout of the week. Obviously training for this triathlon at the moment, or this half Ironman. So my biggest workout is always like a really long bike ride directly into a run, just to kind of get used to that pre-training. I normally do this on a Saturday or a Sunday. However, as I'm away and you know, in Sri Lanka at the end of this week, I went on my bike, so I need to sort of get it in earlier. So I sort of plan my whole week around knowing that I need to take this afternoon off. So I blocked my calendar from 3 p.m. today, and I'm going to go do that now and work out, get this ride in. It's pretty hot, but it should cool off, and then straight into the run, which will be along the beach at sunset. Will be nice. I'll try to get some clips along the way for you guys to see. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to blowing off some steam and yeah, getting my body moving, because I haven't left my desk yet today.
She said, take your time, what's the rush? I said, baby, I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. She said, take your time, what's the rush? I said, baby, I'm a...
So, I have never been so early for a flight in my life. Apparently it's the busiest day for travel here in the UAE, given the end of Ramadan and everything. And I have like a 3-hour block of calls, and if I left my flat after those calls, it'd be touch and go whether I can make the flight. So I've come to the airport, it's currently 11, I've been here about an hour already. My flight's not until 4, which is quite funny, but I'm just sat in the lounge, cracking on with some work, and then obviously I'll take the calls from here, and then obviously hop on the plane. But yeah, I mean, considering it's going to be the busiest day, it's not that busy, which is quite funny. But no, got my exercise in this morning, jumped straight in the cab, and now I'm here. And yeah, I'm actually looking forward to getting a change of scene. I kind of feel like, given everything that's going on in work at the minute, I think it'd be nice just to see some nature, touch some grass, and just have a different environment to think things through. You know, you always have your best ideas if you sit down and you try and work at something so hard, or think things through like in the same setting you're always in. You kind of miss that opportunity to kind of get those new ideas that wouldn't necessarily come to you than maybe if you're like on a run, on a walk, in a different environment. So I'm looking forward to having some of those, and yeah, just working somewhere different for a little bit, which would be fun. And obviously try and take a little bit of time off at the same time, because what's the point in working so hard if you don't enjoy it? But yeah, I'm just going to be here for the next 3 hours, so nothing much to show you, and I'll crack on.
Sunny, yesterday my life was filled with rain. Sunny,
like really dislike.
you smiled at me and now the dark days are done and the bright days are near. My sunny one shines so sincere. Sunny one so true.
So I haven't picked up the camera in a couple days, but we are here in Sri Lanka. It's currently Sunday, so had quite a restful day yesterday, didn't get up to too much. Got up pretty early this morning, we went and did a 21k, which was horrendous. Should have filmed that, but it was stupid humid. Got going around 6:30. Went for breakfast, and this is the place. And now we're heading to the beach. I just done a quick hour of work, kind of planning my week out, making sure I know what's what. Especially when you're traveling or when you don't when you're in a new place, I find it's really important. I do this anyway, but I always make sure I plan out my week way in advance, so I know exactly kind of where my calls are, what I need to do every day, what my to-do lists are for the week. So now I've done that, I can kind of rest the rest of the day. There's a few things I want to do later when we get back. But yeah, for the time being, gonna go to the beach, read a bit of my book, and rest up for a big week ahead.
Sunny,
This is
thank
so
you for the truth you let me see.
Oh, there's literally a water buffalo on a...
Sunny, thank you for the facts from A to Z. My life was torn like windblown sand. Then a rock was formed when we held hands. Sunny one so true, I love